Too. Sorry for not making a Friday Reads video. I decided, like, kind of late notice, since again I was going to get off work early on Friday because I started early. I had a flexible schedule last Friday and this Friday. And so I decided to take a really long, nice hike up in the woods. I don't often get to do that. It was really nice, though, being able to drive through the country instead of driving on this boring freeway with traffic. So yeah, I had a really nice evening. But because of that, I didn't get any reading done. I didn't have any time to make a Friday Reads video because I got back pretty late. I will leave a link in the description below to my Instagram profile. I don't know what you call that. I'm kind of new to Instagram. But I took a bunch of pictures, and on my Instagram I've been doing like nature, dog, cat related, and some books too. So if you want to see some pictures from my hike, they'll be on there. My cat Winnie's here again. Speaking of hiking, I just got back from a nice morning walk on a weekend with my dog, and so I came back, and now I think my cat's like, "You smell like dog. No, you need to smell like a cat." So I'm gonna rub against you and sit here. So yeah, let's talk about the books I plan to read this weekend. They're all pretty meaty chunkers of books. But we'll see how I do. I'm planning to just focus on reading basically this weekend, except my boyfriend really likes Game of Thrones, and so he told me that's coming out Sunday night. So we might watch a couple episodes of that to prepare for this new season. So yeah, I like the show. It's okay. It's a little bit dark and grim for me and bloody. So I can't watch too much of it because, I don't know, it just like affects my mood or something. I need some like light cheeriness, and it's just a little bit too grim. But it's good. So yeah, I'm kind of excited for that, not half as much as my boyfriend is. So other than that, I'm just going to be reading. Maybe do some cleaning if I have to. So this first book is what I've been working on the last part of this week, is Chernobyl. It's The History of a Nuclear Catastrophe by Serhiy Plakhy, if I can pronounce that name right. I'll zoom in on the name if I can. Oh, it's not letting me zoom in too much, but that's the name. Can't really pronounce it. So yeah, this book is just fascinating. I like it because she's not just focusing on the event of Chernobyl, and but she's also talking about like the history of how the town had been for like centuries before, and how like they decided to put the plant there, and like the building of the plant, which that part, and like the people who got elected to work there to, like, you know, set it up, and like the architects and engineers and whatnot. And that sounds kind of boring, but it really wasn't, because you can tell just from how they're constructing the plant, it was just inevitable that something bad was going to happen. And then from that point on, now I'm at the part where the plant is blown up, and they give you like second by second, practically, of what is happening through each stage, and like different people who, you know, make their way to the plant, and like the firefighters and the different politicians and the government and the workers, and like what happens to them. And then yeah, we're on the part where they're just like, it was just crazy, because I didn't know much about Chernobyl except that it blew up, and I knew there was, you know, radioactive, you know, activity there, and I know it's like a, you know, like a ghost town. But so it was just fascinating to me, because like these people, like, they were really against acknowledging that it was a radioactive site, because their meters that they had to monitor radioactivity, radiation in the area only went up to a certain amount. It, like, the radiation in when it blew up was far exceeded what their little monitors said. And so there's only one guy, I guess, who had the right monitor to show, and even it was like way past even what his like measurement had. And so anyway, for like the longest time, like after it happened, it took for like a couple days for them to realize they need to evacuate the city. And so it was just weird, bizarre how they were really fighting against acknowledging the catastrophe. And it's, of course, a lot of this is mixed in with the USSR, like the Soviet Union, and, you know, of course, they're competing with the United States, and so a lot of that had to do with, you know, how they were building and the codes and all that, and, you know, how they were thinking about nuclear energy. So yeah, it's a really, really fascinating read. I'm like constantly like, oh my God, that's how I keep reacting like when reading this. I'm like, I just can't believe it happened in 1986, which wasn't too long ago. It was 32 years ago. It's just unbelievable. So that one I'm planning to finish this weekend. I got to the halfway point. And so let's see, this next one, if I can pull it up, is one that I'm reading for Steve Donahue's Readalong. It's Phineas Redo. This one, it's the other one in this, it's a Palliser series, the 4th book, and the other one focused on it was Phineas Finn, and it was the 2nd book in this series. And that one, you know, was like, you know, happy-go-lucky guy. You know, he was really lucky because, you know, he kind of like came from nothing, kind of way, and he made his way far up in the political world just by luck and happenstance, and like all these women he were meeting, he was befriending them, and they were all falling in love with him. So, you know, it was like, you know, just like really like high notes, you know, constantly going up. This book starts off very somber, you know, it starts off with a sad note, and then from what I've read so far, I hadn't read much, I really need to catch up. I haven't even caught up to last week's reading. It was like, you know, you're going to read the first 20 chapters, and then this week, you want to get to chapter 40. So I have, I think I'm at like chapter 10, so I have a lot to do. And so anyway, this one, it's a lot sadder. So we'll see how this goes. And so this is the cover for this one, Phineas Finn. And as you kind of see from it, it's like, you know, it has a newspaper in it. So the previous book was the Eustace Diamonds. It was about a woman, you know, with like nice jewelry. So this one you can kind of tell it's like a man in a political world with a newspaper, you know, a businessman. It's a little bit different tone than the Eustace Diamonds. So, you know, focusing on, you know, politics and, you know, it's on the perspective of a man. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, I was kind of getting annoyed with how lucky he was getting in Phineas Finn. He was constantly, you know, like far exceeding, you know, my expectations of him from where he started out. So this one, you know, it's like kind of like the polar opposite. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can make it to maybe I don't think I can make it to chapter 40 to catch up for this week, but maybe by next week I'll be all caught up with the read-along. And this next one I'm going to be talking about is for the Wheel of Time read-along that's happening, where you read one book from the series each month. So it's a 14-month series, a 14-book series of 14 months, and this is the 2nd month. So if you want to join in, it's still have plenty of time. This is the 2nd book in the Wheel of Time series, The Great Hunt. And this one I really like. I read this. It's funny enough. This will be my 3rd reread. Like, I've read the series twice, but my boyfriend last year wanted to read the series because I was encouraged. You know, he wants a good fantasy series. Like, you should try this one. And so I had read this one because this is the one he was reading. And so of all the books I've read, this is my 3rd reread because I just happened to pick this one up to match his reading, so we could talk about it. This one I really like. It focuses on some of my favorite characters. I really like Matt. He's like a funny guy, and so he's always getting into messes. And so yeah, I don't want to give too much away in the story because I'm sure no one has read it. But it's a really nice series. It's a lot of traveling, and you get to see lots of cities. And I like this one because they finally made it to like this magical realm of it's called Tarvalin, and it's where all these like witches, I guess, you know, you could say, you know, these like all the females can have this power, but the males, called the Aes Sedai, anyone that is a man that wields this power, it's their line of power is corrupted, and so it's only the females who can, you know, have this power. And so I like this book because it kind of opens up with them. You know, they're at Tarvalin, and some of the females, the women in their group, decide to stay and, you know, learn and practice the magic. And so I really like that book because you know, you see them progress, and you learn a lot more about the magic system in this series from this book. And so yeah, it's a nice fun read. And this other one is another fantasy I'm reading. It just happened to come into my library, and it has a bunch of holds on it, and it's going to expire soon, so I need to get to it ASAP. Let's see. It's a really pretty cover. It's The Obelisk by N.K. Jemisin. And this is the 2nd book in, I think it's called The Broken Earth? Yeah, the 2nd book in the Broken Earth series. I read the 5th season January, February. And so I like to read a series like relatively close together so I don't forget anything. And so when I finished the season, I immediately put a hold on this one. So when it came up, I could read it. I really liked the season. It's an interesting series, and this one has a lot of good reviews, so I'm expecting, to like top the 5th season. I'll read a little description if it doesn't give too much away. It says, "This is the way the world ends, for the last time. The season of endings grows darker as civilization fades into the long, cold night. Alabaster Tenring, madman, world crusher, savior, has returned with a mission to train his successor, Yusin, and thus seal the fate of the stillness forever. It continues with a lost daughter found by the enemy. It continues with the obelisks, an ancient mystery converging on answers at last. The stillness is the wall which stands against the flow of tradition, the spark of hope long buried under the thickening ashfall, and it will not be broken." So in the 5th season, it was like very action packed. It had good magic in it because it was kind of different. For this, the people who can practice magic wield like the earth. It's very like earth related, and so like they create earthquakes, like break rocks and things like that, and like kind of like change the weather patterns in a way, because of that. And so I flew through the 5th season. At first I didn't really like it because like just the first couple chapters, because every couple chapters was written in second person, which threw me off completely. But after a while, I got used to it, and I was riveted by this book. And so this one, I'm expecting to, even though it's a big chunker, and I'm starting it today, I think I'm just gonna fly through it and maybe finish by Sunday or Monday. We'll see. I'm super excited to read all of these books, even though they're 4 big books. I think the smallest one. This one's 410 pages. I think this is the smallest one on my list. So wish me luck. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a good weekend. Let me know if you read any of these books, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, BookTube.